Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Now if you're in law enforcement, in the military, or just after an incredibly good hard wearing boot from a trusted US company, then the Belleville AMRAP Vapor Boots might just be the boots for you. I've had these now for about 3 or 4 months and testing these out as thoroughly as I can do, and I thought today we'll bring you some content on exactly how good these are. Now before I start, I just want to point out that these are a military boot through and through, designed for military personnel, law enforcement personnel and security. My history, I've never been in the forces. I'm certainly not a current serving forces member, but I really do enjoy that outdoors lifestyle. I also like a lot of airsoft, and when I play airsoft I go for more of a military simulation style airsoft rather than an indoors CQB kind of thing. So that's kind of my background, and as far as testing these out is concerned, I've tested these out through as many different environments through the moorlands here as I can do. Now the beauty of the moorlands is that we have lots of grass areas, we have lots of forest areas. In between all of that we have these rocky outcrops, which is made from this millstone grit, which is a very tough and coarse material. So we have a lot of rich vegetation. The soil is very rich, like a British peat. But then because of these rocky outcrops, we also have a lot of sandy soil. So it's a very good environment to test this sort of thing, these kind of boots in. I've done several long hikes with these. I've also done several, I say several, I've probably done 2 or 3 days of skirmishing with these as well over the last 3 or 4 months. So I'd like to think that I've got a good understanding of what this boot does and how I would use this boot, and also how I would rate this boot. I know I don't necessarily give like a 9 out of 10 or something like that, but I'd like to think I've got a good understanding of how this boot works. Now just to get through some of the information on the boot as well, so this is from Belleville, which is a US company and a very well respected US company. On the few pieces of footwear content that I've made in the past, it's certainly a name that's come up. I definitely would like to thank the people that have suggested these, mainly because I've thoroughly enjoyed wearing these over the last 3 or 4 months. In fact, you'll probably see a lot of the filming that I've done out here, especially the top down stuff. You'll see that I'm wearing these boots underneath there. Now I tend to find with boots that they fall, or people that wear boots fall into 2 categories. You have the die-hard, if it's not leather, it's not a boot. And then you have the other camp that is, well, actually these synthetic materials are just as good and lighter and more durable. And now I flitter between the 2. However, I will say that as far as my footwear experience goes for being outdoors, I'd say probably about 70% of the boots and trainers and approach shoes that I've worn are a synthetic material over a leather material, and I just really like synthetic materials. So the upper on here is made from a synthetic material. You'll see through here, through the toe box, through the sides, through the heels and the tongue here, that it's all through the same material. But then what they've done is they've got additional reinforcements on areas that will need it. The toe rand that protects the toe box on the front has this really nice rubberized section to it. Also through the laces, through the side of the laces, and then up through the sides, you'll be able to see that it has a similar, or I think it is the same rubber that is on here as well. These are a fully waterproof boot. But I will say that the membrane that they have on here, now I can't seem to find, so I'm guessing it will be like an event or a, you know the other one, what's the other one called? the most popular one that I simply just can't think of at the moment. So it's a similar material to that. So the vapor side of the AMRAP Vapor, it will allow your boot, or it will allow your feet to, you know, release some heat, and also if you're sweating. It's been, well, I say June was reasonably, May and June were hot here. The rest of the year it's been incredibly wet, so I have tested this in warm conditions and it's been great. It doesn't allow your boot to sweat too much, which is Gore-Tex, that was the word I was thinking of. I do find with some Gore-Tex boots that they do make your feet sweat quite a bit. It doesn't allow it to get out as much as they say it does. Whereas with these, it definitely has done. It's allowed my feet to stay nice and dry. But also on days like this, as you can see, I've walked here with these on. There's plenty of water on here. In fact, these were quite muddy just. I will say, whatever the material that there is on here, it's very good at being able to get dirt off it. So the tree behind just there, the bottom of this was caked in mud, the front of this was caked in mud, just with a good smack on the tree, cleared probably 97% of the dirt and crap off the bottom, and then holding it and kicking it against it, again removed all of the dirt from here as well. It does a very good job of that. Now while we're talking about the rand on the front here, it does come up past to on top of the toe, which is great. Again, it just gives extra little bit of comfort in there. As far as the comfort within the toe box is concerned, myself, I have hobbit's feet. That's how Mrs. Morlander describes my feet, and it probably is the best way to describe them actually. My toes are reasonably wide and short, and I will say for the toe box on here, it's larger than your average toe box, which is great for me. Personally, I do appreciate that. But I wouldn't necessarily say that they are a wide boot, or at least they have a wide footprint. What I found when I first put these on, I wouldn't class it as an instability, but I think because I'm used to quite wide shoes, through the midsole and through the heel, it does seem a little bit thinner than I'm used to. Now I think as far as used to, I'm used to quite wide shoes, but certainly nothing that will take you 10 footsteps to realise, and your body will self-adjust to that. But yes, really nice and wide as far as the toe box is concerned. Now being able to walk and climb and being able to get over obstacles, or even take a knee with these is great, because this is a fully soft toe box. If you're concerned maybe that you're after something that you will need some protection through your toe, if you're in security or law enforcement, that sort of thing, probably not the boot for you, but I do think that Belleville have other boots that will give you that protection that you need. Taking a knee on these is great. So where the material goes round here, so it'll go round where these laces are, and that just allows you to be able to take a knee and to be able to, you know, get into that position a lot easier. I've not found any pinching. I've just not had any issues at all with these that I have had with other boots. The lacing, or at least where the lacing section starts, I've not measured it against any others, but it does feel that it's actually just a little bit of a step further back, which again just gives you a little bit more movement, it gives you a little bit more freedom within that toe box. Again, for taking a knee, here you can see climbing steps, all of that sort of stuff. But what that also does is, because of that flexibility, it allows you to get a little bit more grip, and you know, as far as being able to feel the ground beneath you. These are a mid boot. Hopefully you've probably noticed that by now. The luxury of a mid boot is that you get the best of both worlds. So they feel a lot like a training shoe or a sneaker. They really do. In fact, that's what really surprised me about these. I've been a big wearer of the Salomon Ultra X, or X Ultra. I forget which way the X and the Ultra goes. And they are the training shoe size. They feel a lot like those, they really do. With it having a lower back on here as well is great, but so you get the advantage of a training shoe, but you also get the advantage of the protection through your ankle that you get with a mid boot, rather than being, you know, all the way up to something that's going to go halfway up your leg. Days skirmishing with these, I found that it's great if I need to get into a prone position. It gives me the support on the ankle that I need, being able to get back up onto my feet. Because where I play there is a bit of indoor and outdoor environments as well. Inside there's a lot of, well, the roofs have gone through, so there's a lot of water in there, and the stability, or at least the extra security that I get in the ankle, is definitely appreciated. Lacing wise, just take these laces out. The laces are really nice and long, as you'd expect. Plenty of room, plenty of wiggle room in there. Rather than using lacing holes, so through the front you have these webbing loops which are double stitched onto the side through the material, which is great. So your first four on there are these webbing loops, and then when you get to the top you have these metal eyelets, and the metal eyelets on the inside there, you can see that they are punched straight through. None of this, or which just on the outside that you get with some cheaper brands. No, this does go all the way through to make sure that that eyelet is secure as possible. The laces feed through perfectly, no issues with them feeding through. In fact, when you pull them tight, they will actually stay there, rather than you having to push down on the lace itself to then be able to manipulate the knot that's there. It does give a good enough grip that you can pull it tight and then do whatever sort of bow it is that you prefer to do on here. Now, to aid you with donning and doffing, there is a zip on the inside, which is great. The way that I put these on is I will put my foot into here, I will then zip them up, and then I will then do the actual laces themselves. I have tried it a few times where you can just simply keep the laces tied, unzip this and slip your shoe out, or slip your foot out. I will say though, because your lace is tied and it reduces this angle here, or I suppose it increases this angle here, it does make it harder to pull your foot out, and you will get more wear on the inside. But rather than other mid boots where you really have to pull the laces open a lot so that you can then get your foot in, just having a light shower here. Hopefully we're going to stay nice and dry for the camera. You don't necessarily have to fully unlace this to get this off your boot, to get this off your foot. You can just pull it open ever so slightly, undo the knot on there, and then unzip this, and you'll be able to get your foot out with ease. The tongue on the inside, this is fully lined with that waterproof membrane. As far as how high you can get before it will allow any water in, although through just general actual walking rather than fully submerging these to see how deep I can get them, I might have to put something over the microphone. Apologies about this if it messes with the audio. I don't think it should do. Let's put this on there. Now, where were we? So yes, I haven't submerged these just to see exactly how far I can get in, but one would assume that because the membrane comes just up, especially for the tongue, so it is a fully gusseted tongue, which hopefully you'd expect to make sure that that water doesn't get in. It comes up to where these two steel eyelets are, so that's where that will get to. So you should be able to submerge the vast majority of this boot before it starts to let any water in. But I will say on the side where this zip is, and this is a YKK zip as well, it says it on there, and It is one of the newer RC style YKK zips, which are very good, especially in dirt and just getting crap in there and still being able to function perfectly. I believe it's a locking one as well. Is it a locking one? It is a locking one, so once you have it down all the way down there, it will stop it from going up and down. But yes, that gusseting on the inside does come all the way to the top. So I guess if you were maybe worried, then you could probably tie these as tight as you possibly could do, and it would stop some of that water from getting in. Now, like with most things, the proof of the pudding really is in the tasting, and any boot that's worth its weight in salt needs to be a boot that you can walk on, and you can walk on for prolonged periods. The midsole on this is an expanded TPU and does a very, very good job of cushioning your foot. For me, I genuinely prefer quite a shallow midsole, mainly because I find that not only does it give me a little bit more traction, but I can appreciate what is underfoot. Through the heel, it's a little bit deeper, as you'd expect, but it is quite a bit deeper on there. So as far as a heel strike is concerned, it does a very good job of being able to cushion your foot. I know I mentioned earlier about it being thinner, or at least appearing thinner to me, but once I've had these on for 2 minutes, just being able to walk on these, I think there's a good stability through there. And in fact, if I can put it at this angle, hopefully you'll be able to see that having rather than more of a rounded edge, it has more of a rectangular end to here, which again, when you're planting your foot down, whether that's on rocks, whether that's on dirt or whatever it is that you're walking on, it does a very good job of making sure that your foot, I'm trying to think of the right words here, but it does a very good job of, one, cushioning your foot, but also making sure that when your heel strikes, it feels grounded. Working your way through the midsole to the front, what the front does is allow you to get a little bit more understanding of what's underfoot, which is perfect for me. And I've certainly found with these, when I've been skirmishing, when I've been indoors, going between outdoors and indoors, you get to feel the difference and how the rain's coming down a little bit heavier. On the bottom, the tread on these is also very good. It's made from 100% rubber and does an incredibly good job of gripping. I will say, walking through the moorlands, walking either on the grit, walking through the mud. I haven't tried these on a beach yet. I haven't tried them on a very sandy location. However, I'm more than sure that they will perform admirably. The tread on the bottom here, if you can see, it's actually spaced a little bit wider than you'd find on other boots. But what that does is a very good job of just being able to act like small fingers and grip onto things when you're climbing or when you're walking across stones and that sort of thing. But what I've also found is that if you have very clayey soil, now very clay soil does a very good job of clinging onto boots. It's the worst, it gets very heavy. What I found with these is that sort of soil, it does stick to them, but again, I know, like I've done here, I banged this against the tree and it just came off, but if you were to stamp on, just give you a bit of a stamp and it comes off, it does a good job of being able to get those off. It goes all the way through the sides. Now it does lift up around the midsole, and then at the front here it passes the midsole and it comes up onto the rand again, which does give you a little bit more protection there from stubbing your toe. On the heel as well, it also comes up through to the back, and then on the midsole, or I suppose the middle or the arch of your boot here, it comes up on there as well to give you more traction when you're walking on things. Now, the last thing just to point out is on the inside, I know quite a few of you are like, oh, but I only use these insoles, I don't like any other ones. Yeah. Anyway, on the inside there is a fully removable EVA insole, and I will say that it is very comfortable. Arch protection or arch support on the insole is great. I don't need a lot personally. I have quite good arches. I've certainly never had any struggles with those, but I can feel that it's there. When I'm walking, I can feel that it pushes up into the arch for that additional support that you get. Through the toe section, let's take this out. So through the toe here, this is perforated, so if you do unfortunately get water into them, it will take the water away from your foot and it will go underneath, and then you can see here, so here is all of that EVA foam on the inside. So EVA is a closed cell foam. On the back here, super smooth. The only section that it has been opened is just around here. I'm guessing what they'll probably have is, when these are manufactured, they'll probably just have one or maybe two, and then they'll be cut to size. But again, yes, very good. And on the inside, you can see, if you can see that, you get that full waterproof membrane on the inside as well. I'm a size 9 in the UK, so these are a UK size 9, these are a US size 10, and European size, that is a size 43. And they fit me perfectly. I'm not the type that struggles with in-between sizes when it comes to boots or shoes, but I will say that what I expect from the size, that these fit perfectly for that size. Rain's coming down quite hard now. Hopefully, if this protection works for the camera, I can use this again in future. Anyway. So, what do I think of these? I really have enjoyed testing these and will thoroughly enjoy continuing to test these. As far as a military law enforcement style boot is concerned, they have done what I could possibly test them. I know I certainly can't test them to the rigours that somebody in the forces or in law enforcement can do, but I'd like to think that I've tried my damn hardest to test just how good these are. I would definitely say that these are Moorlands tested and Moorlander loved, because they've really done me, or at least they've really done Belleville proud over the last 3 or 4 months. I want to say a massive thank you as well. So you guys recommended these, and I reached out to Belleville and asked if there's any chance that they'd be prepared to send me some boots. I'm just this guy from the UK, and they were just, I think the term is just good old-fashioned American hospitality. They were super nice, and they're like, yeah, sure, we'll send you a pair. That has no reflection on the outcome of this video. If there are bits that I would want to change about these, I certainly would do, but I think as it stands, the only tiny little bit that I would change is just the bit on the back. So pulling these on, certainly with the zip on the side, it makes them easier to get on and off. But if they just made this just this extra little bit wider, or just extra little bit thicker, maybe. Other than that, these are a great boot. So thank you to the people that recommended these. There was quite a few of you, so I can't remember. I mean, in honesty, I didn't write everybody's name down, but I'd like to thank everybody that recommended these. I'd also like to thank Belleville for sending these my way. I look forward to having maybe a little bit more look through some of your other boots that you have. That would be great. So I will leave links to Belleville below so that you can see more from these. I will leave some of my social media links here on Moorlander EDC, and also my sister channel, Moorlander Tactical. But for now, as always, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay EDC. Now, getting through to the important bit, which really is possibly one of the most important bits of the boot, is actually how it is good, how sort of boot really needs to be good for walking on. As far as the midsole, or as far as midsole, it is midsole. It is midsole, was it? Let's get to my nan. Or not, from the sole upwards, it comes down to how well you can walk with this. The midsole on here, so this is an expanded EVA, it's not EVA, it's TPU. Stood here today with my boot and a croc. Now, you won't know this, but this is the 3rd attempt at making this. I walked, I parked, when was it? Friday. I even did a little short while I was there. I parked, I walked roughly about an hour, maybe an hour and a half to one of my favouriteest filming spots. Got there, set up, like a bell end, realised I'd left the batteries at home. So all of the B-roll that you've seen today is from there, but that's not a good one to film on. Went out yesterday, met up with my brother, saw his new e-bike, which is very cool. Those Super 73 e-bikes are amazing. Peeing it down. So, third time lucky. Third time is a charm. Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Now, if you're after a company, then the Belleville AMRAP, it is AMRAP. I don't know why I struggled on that because I know what it is. It's the Belleville AMRAP Vapor. And stay out of the rain. Here's some outdoor content for you. I always worry because I don't want to get my camera wet, but I take this little bit of leather with me everywhere, and it's done a good job of keeping stuff dry. Now let's get home. Oh, my other kit's soaking now. Yeah, see you in a bit. Bye.